Hey everybody, Goat here, and here's another one of our series on Diablo 3 characters co-op builds, and this one will be on the Wizard. Now, I know that you're probably expecting an Archon or a Critical Mass build, but the fact that we don't have an auction house here on consoles makes doing those types of builds difficult until you have exactly the right gear. So no, this is not either one of those builds. This is a build for you're still working that character up there. You've hit 60, you've got some okay gear, and this will help you out as you gear towards those really high-end builds. Now, this was the first character I got to 60, but I stopped playing it and started playing the Demon Hunter. So now I'm back to playing it, and I'm farming up some gear for it, and this is the build I use when Hog and I play together, and I can still make use of it when I play single player, as long as my follower doesn't run out and die too fast. The concept, again, with most of my builds that I build when we work together is, again, I'm expecting area of effect damage against the thing that he's holding still from me, he being Hog. So, on this build, we'll start off with my main spell, and I know this isn't, a primary free spell, but the important part of this one is Blizzard. And the concept behind this is I've lowered, by the rune there of Snowbound, I've lowered it to 20 arcane power, so I can cast it as often as I like. And it chills everything in the area and does a fair amount of damage over 6 seconds. Now 6 seconds is actually a decent amount of time of pulling an entire group in. Now the reason that's my main one is because I do have, I'm going to go ahead and hit the wrong button there, I do have the passive here of cold-blooded, so all damage dealt to chilled and frozen targets is up by 20%. So if I'm planning to blizzard everything, basically, I'm always doing 20% more damage. That's, a huge boost in damage. If you saw that on any weapon, you'd take that. So that's why those two work together. Then I've gone with magic weapon. We're going to go ahead and make it do 10% more damage. Why not? You want to do more damage anyways, right? That's all your spells that you're casting are going to do more damage. And I put blood magic on it to get that 1.5% damage, or of my damage back as life. That helps when you're dealing with anything that's reflecting damage back at you, and you're going to take hits here and there, and that just keeps you from having to burn potions. And it just helps with a little bit of defensive boost. If you already have enough lifesteal from other things, you could easily go to something along the lines of like Conduit to get more of your arcane back, or bring in Force Weapon to do even more damage, but that 2% knockback, that is not as great as holding in the things in the area that you want them, but you can make it work. That also, things that hit them will arc the lightning around, you get more damage there. That's just a straight DPS boost right there. But as it is, I'm playing on the higher levels. I enjoy this one just because it makes having to manage things a lot simpler. So, then we have for my other attack is Arcane Torrent. So what I'll do basically is open up with the Blizzard. That slows things down, and that gives an area for Hog to work in. And then I start hitting with the Arcane Torrent. Now, 285% weapon damage is Arcane to everything near the impact location, so it's another AoE effect. AoE damage, I should say. And then anything that dies to it sends off another one. Which, hey, that's just free DPS right there. All the other runes for Arcane Torrent I really don't like, except maybe this one. Again, that's allowing you to get more arcane power. I just like the straight-up damage boost here that I'm getting. If you're finding you're not getting enough killing blows, you may want to move that down to Power Stone. This one's okay. It's actually not bad. It's just that the bolts fly slower, so it doesn't feel like they're doing nearly as much damage. They just fly out there slower. I didn't like it. It takes them too long to get there, so because you'd think it'd feed off it, but it's just not my favorite. But anyways, that's why I stick with that. Then my main attack, I am running the Spectral Blade, and if you have not had this before, if you tried it with any of these other ones, the range is so short they're almost useless. I just hated this spell up until I got Thrown Blade. Extending the reach out another 20 yards, and it's another area of effect, and it does 165 weapon damage. It is my favorite to use. I love this one. It does good solid damage, it has good solid range, and it's a decent way to, hit them with your Blizzard and walk in and slap them with that. You're still doing a great amount of damage. Over here, defensively, again, I run Energy Armor. This will allow you to increase your armor, of course, by 35%, and it should decrease your arcane power by 20, which, you don't want that. So I go with the energy tap and allowing me to have 20 more. So that's offensively, that makes me better, and defensively, the extra armor makes me better. Because you're always going to be taking hits, as everything hits you at some point. So being able to have a little more defense, I really like. If you're running lower ends and you're just farming away and not really caring, go with Storm Armor. This is almost, it's like that's a pure offensive armor. And but since we're running the higher ones, because we're farming with the high magic find, I like to run energy armor with energy tap. And this is my oh shit button, Diamond Skin, and I run that with the Crystal Shell, which doubles the amount it can resist. And that is, again, that's one you're going to want to run if you're running the higher monster powers, or mastery levels, I'm sorry. And the reason for that is it can soak up more damage. I know a lot of folks actually like to put on that teleport instead, and they will use Wormhole. And that is not a bad one. That allows you to completely get out of the way, and there's a 1-second delay, and that's pretty great. The downside is that it's a 15 arcane power. So a lot of times when I'm going, oh shit, the reason I'm doing that is because I've run out of arcane power. I can't cast any more spells. So I like Diamond Skin. That's just a personal preference there. I'm telling you why I do it. Now on to the rest of the passives. Another defensive one here. My armor spells now last... I think 5 minutes or something total. I forget the exact math on it. But they last a long time, so I'd have less of a chance of forgetting them. And since I'm running it anyways, that's a good idea. And I'm getting, 1,300 life per second. Well, 1,300 life per second, that's almost a steady stream of healing. Again, I don't really, unless I take some really big hits from a few things, I stay alive really well, which I like. So I offset that off by going here with the Glass Cannon, by making me do more damage, but I'm going to decrease my armor and resistances a little bit. Now, as a mage, your resistances should be pretty high anyways, because that's coming off of int, and with the armor bonuses that I'm getting from the other things, that seems to balance out well and allow me to do a fair amount of damage. So that is the way I run my mage right now, and as an example of the stuff I'm wearing, you'll see I just combined all of my yellow gems, so I have a marquee up there, but what that meant was I had a bunch of open gem slots, so I just threw purples, low-end purples that I had laying around in the current pants. I think I've only got like one, I got a legendary offhand now, source I should say. That 10% spectral blade damage, there's another reason I like spectral blade, that was awesome. It does reduce the cooldown of teleport, but I don't use that. And critical hits granting me 10 more arcane power, which I do get a lot of those from my swings of my spectral blades. And then I could be running energy twister to make use of it here. That is one you could do. It's also real handy if somebody can hold them still, but just because everything's moving around so much, I've gone to using the Arcane Torrent. I guess that would be one other option you could use. Instead of Arcane Torrent, and I know this is a real popular one, people use Energy Twister with the Wicked Wind. And what that does is it just sits in place and just dealing damage, sitting there in that spot, spinning around. Now, and you can stack them up a whole bunch. Trouble is, if things are moving, they're not going to keep running into that. So if I do have Hog on, I make use of that sometimes. Other times I go back and just use Arcane Torrent. And I like that really because as things move, my Arcane Torrent will track them. So it's a decent amount of damage all to that one place for a small amount of arcane power. So that is my wizard build. And if you have any questions about that or any suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And look forward here shortly to getting the last on our series of co-op builds from Hog as he finishes up the Witch Doctor. He wanted to take that one on because it'd be his first range character. So it is a little bit of a learning curve for him, but he's having a good time with it. So if you have any other suggestions that you'd like to see from us, let us know. Drop us a subscribe and a like. That'd be great. And I'll catch you on the flip side.